Okay, class. Today we're going to be talking about special right triangles. So let's begin with a little warm-up. We've already been talking about special right triangles, so we have some prior knowledge of this. So in your warm-up today, what I'd like for you to do is fill in the blanks. The first one, we've got a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. And what I'd like for you to tell me is, how do I find the hypotenuse? All right. Well, the hypotenuse, this hypotenuse right here, we find it by multiplying, or by taking the leg and multiplying it by the square root of 2. That's the ratio that we use. For a leg, if I know the hypotenuse, we're going to divide it by the square root of 2. Now in a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, we've got several things. We've got 4 ratios to deal with. So to find the hypotenuse, we know that everything comes from the short leg. So to find the hypotenuse, we're going to take the short leg and we're going to multiply it by 2. Okay? To find the short leg, if I know the hypotenuse, we're just going to take the hypotenuse and divide it by 2. Now to find the long leg, we will take the short leg and multiply it by the square root of 3. And for the short leg to go back from the long leg, if I know it, we're going to divide it by the square root of 3. So there's a couple things that can help you remember this. For me, in the 45, 45, 90 right triangle, I know that I've got 2 legs that are alike and 2 angles that are alike. So that's why I multiply by the square root of 2, or multiply and divide by the square root of 2. For the 30, 60, 90, I know there's 3 different angles and 3 different sides. So that's why we multiply by the square root of 3. Okay? So we use these ratios in order to help us find the missing parts. We know to find the hypotenuse, I'm going to take a leg and multiply it by the square root of 2. There are 3 questions that you ask yourself when you're given one of these type of questions. Question number 1, what kind of triangle do you have? You have 2 answers for that question, either a 45, 45, 90 right triangle or a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. Second question, what do you know about that triangle? Well, if it's a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, you have 2 answers. You either know the leg or you know a hypotenuse. So when you're looking at question number 3, what are you trying to find? In that 45, 45, 90 right triangle, you have the same 2 answers, leg or hypotenuse. Now, if you have a 30, 60, 90, for question number 2, what do you know about the triangle? You have 3 answers. It's either hypotenuse, short leg, or long leg. And then number 3, what are you trying to find? Again, you have those same 3 answers, hypotenuse, short leg, or long leg. So let's see if we can do a couple questions. So here's our first one. Okay, the first question that we ask is, what kind of a triangle do we have? We have a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. Okay, so what do I know? Well, I know a leg. So immediately, if I'm looking for, if I know one leg, I can find the other leg, because I know in a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, they are the same. So now I need to find the hypotenuse. So again, I go back to question number 2. What do I know? Well, I know a leg. What do I want to know? I want to know the hypotenuse. So if we were to go back and look at our ratio, so y is equal to the leg, which is 14, times the square root of 2. So what we do is we go to our calculator. I don't have a calculator on screen, so I have to use the calculator off screen. So I type in 14 times the square root of 2. And I end up with 19.798 and so on. 19.798. Now, on all the answers that we're looking at today, we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So I look at this 9 right here in the hundredths place. So y will be approximately 19.8 centimeters. So again, if I'm looking for a hypotenuse, we take the leg and we multiply it by the square root of 2. Let's see if you can do one by yourself. Pause the video and answer this question. Okay, let's see how you did. Question number 1. What kind of a triangle is it? Well, it's a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. Okay, what do I know? Well, I know the hypotenuse. What do I want to know? I want to know a leg. So I need a leg equals formula. And we know the leg is going to be equal to the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2. So this leg, which is x, is equal to 12 divided by the square root of 2. So I go to my calculator, 12 divided by the square root of 2. And we end up with x being approximately equal to 8.485. And again, we're going to be rounding to the nearest tenth. So this 8 bumps the 4 to a 5. So x is approximately 8.5. And in this case, inches. So if x is 8.5 inches, that makes y also equal to 8.5 inches. Because in a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, the legs are congruent. So let's try a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So we ask ourselves the first question, what kind of a triangle do I have? 30, 60, 90. What information do I know? Okay, well I know because it's opposite the 30-degree angle, I know the short leg. But what do I want to know? I want to know the hypotenuse. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So if we go to our ratios, go back to... Okay, so I take the short leg. Okay, this x is equal to the short leg times 2. So x is equal to 18. So 18 feet in this case. Okay, now to find y, we go back to our original information. I know short leg, so I need to find the long leg. And we know our ratio for a long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. So that means it's going to be 9 times the square root of 3. So y is going to be approximately equal to, and then I go to my calculator, 9 times the square root of 3. And I end up with 15.588. Okay, well again, we're rounding to the nearest tenth, so that 8 will make this y approximately equal to 15.6 feet. So let's have you try one. Try this one by yourself. Pause the video and answer this question. Okay, let's see how you did. Question number 1, what kind of a triangle is it? It's a 30, 60, 90. Question number 2, what do I know? Well, I know the hypotenuse. Okay, so what do I want to know? I want to know the short leg. Okay, so I'm going to do short leg, or x equals, and it says that the ratio is the hypotenuse, which is 18, divided by 2. So x is equal to 9 inches. Okay, so I now know the short leg is equal to 9 inches. So now I need to find y, and y is the long leg in our ratio. So short leg, 9 times the square root of 3. So y is equal to, okay, and I go to my calculator, 9 times the square root of 3, and we end up with 15.588. Same thing that we had on the other question there. So again, we round to the nearest tenth, and we end up with 15.6, and this would be inches. So y is equal to 15.6 inches. So what we need to remember about special right triangles is, okay, we know that in a 30, 60, 90, to find the hypotenuse, I just take the short leg and multiply it by 2. The thing I can find from the hypotenuse is the short leg, okay, because everything revolves around the short leg. For our long leg is short leg times the square root of 3. We do have some ratios that we use. And if you follow those 3 questions that I had you ask yourself, then it will help you, 1, to pick out which triangle you're going to use, which set of ratios. Okay, 2, okay, what you're looking for, which will help you pick out which specific ratio that we need. So if it's a 45, 45, 90, we know we can find the hypotenuse by multiplying the leg times the square root of 2. To find the leg, we can take the hypotenuse and divide it by the square root of 2. In a 30, 60, 90, we know we can find the hypotenuse by multiplying the short leg by 2. And we can find the short leg, if I know the hypotenuse, by dividing the hypotenuse by 2. To find the long leg, we just take the short leg and multiply by the square root of 3. And to go back to the short leg from the long leg, we just divide the long leg by the square root of 3. Always remember, if you're going from something small to something big, you're multiplying. If you're going from something big to something small, then you're dividing. Hope this helps. Until next time.